The Black Fat Film Podcast is a production of iHeartRadio and DoctorJonPaul, LLC. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Black Fat Film Podcast, where all the intersections of identity are celebrated. I am one of your hosts, John, also known as Dr. John Paul, and I'm unpolitely here with my Karen wig on to speak to the manager of 2025, because what is this, honey?
Girl.
What is this? What, like,
Girl.
literally, if you, literally the hair is over my eye. And what is this, honey? Like, can I speak to the manager? I need to speak to somebody in charge, because these last few weeks have been a total shit show.
Girl.
And I got COVID to boost. She just literally the last few weeks have just mollywopped me all upside my head. But for those who are concerned, yes, I'm well. I'm better now. I am actually COVID negative, but I had COVID literally the entire time that I was in New Orleans, and the entire time that I was in Minnesota. I had COVID, and I absolutely no. It wasn't. Where was I? It wasn't Minnesota. Where was I last? Clintonville Books. Jesus Christ. I actually didn't know. I didn't figure out I had COVID until actually after the book talk. I said, let me just test, because I feel like trash. And sure enough, I had it. But yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, it's been that. Girl, it's been so that, right? But I've just been looking around like, same wound, Flav. Same wound. Literally, same wound, Flav. But anyway, how are you, Joe?
First of all, okay, so two things. So like, one, I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad that like it's because I had COVID. I came back from New York, and I had no idea. Like I thought I just had bad allergies, and I had tested before I came back, and it was negative. And then I came back, and I was positive, and I was like, fuck, and I was like, oh no, like I clearly had it when I was in New York. You. Like I had, but I'm glad, because I used to be so afraid of it, and I was like, and I mean, and I still am in some ways, but I was like, well, okay, wow, like I thought it was just allergies. Like I really thought it was allergies for a few days, and that was out.
Sniffle.
Thankful that like it's this is a proof that science works and vaccines work. Because we aren't having the same shit we used to have before when it hit us. So I'm glad that I'm glad that you weren't taken down. And glad that you're okay now, and I pray that all the people that you were around did not get it either.
Right. I'm also, and I sent out texts to let people know, like, it wasn't, same thing. Like I went to a birthday party. Shout out to friend of the show, James. They had a birthday party the Saturday before I left. And then, I text folks that were around me, in Louisiana. And then same thing when I was over at Clintonville. I basically had told them like, hey, I didn't go knowing. It was one of those things of like, I knew I didn't feel well, but also I just thought it was travel, the same feeling, right?
Traveling is exhausting. You don't know these days what it is. Like, and I imagine like you test and you're like, I'm fine. I just don't feel well. And then you're like, and then you test again, you're like, oh shit. No,
yeah,
my bad,
and it was very much giving that. I had tested on Tuesday and it was negative, and then I tested again on Friday and I was positive. And so I was like, okay, so I had to have gotten COVID between the birthday party and between the traveling to New Orleans, which I'm not surprised, because last year when I traveled to New Orleans, I was, like I told you before, I was at Essence Fest last year, and I was there working it, and I got
New
COVID.
Orleans, New Orleans,
so New Orleans just
because honestly, that's what I'm sure I got it too. Like I went from New Orleans to New York, and I was like, oh, I'm Gucci. I was like, I'm Gucci, and then I was like, oh, it's probably just bad allergies. And I was like, oh, damn girl. But
not New Orleans being like the place where everybody get COVID.
The patient zero.
My God.
Second of all, I really wish you had a Karen wig, because I feel like you with a bob, like the people who like those people like who bring just bobs with them wherever they go. Yeah, that's the shit I want to see, and I would love. Okay, next live show we have, you and I should have matching bobs.
We literally should. We should
literally
just have on a matching Karen wig.
I would live. It'd be so cute. Okay.
The black lady who dates the white lady who dates black men wig.
Yes. Please. Yes, God. Okay, fam. It is your girl Jordan, I cannot English. It's your girl Joho, aka Jordan the baddest. And I'm here to remind y'all that not everything has to be online.
T.
It's okay to leave a little mystique, an amuse bouche, if you will. you don't have to give the full course of your stories always. Like, you're allowed
Mm,
to be private,
mm-hmm.
girl, in some ways
Mm-hmm.
still, even if you live a public
Yes.
life. Like, I feel the line of being like, share, it's your life, girl, share what you want to share. And also,
Real.
some posts should remain an inside thought. Like, that's really, that's just really it. Something it should be
Sometimes I
in,
just be like I just
not
girl,
everything has to
I
be
don't need to know all that.
like, no one had to know this. It's actually okay.
No.
You can just
Yes.
you know what, if you must write the story or the tweet, draft it, girl. You just
Yeah.
don't always have to do that. My God. I do want to share with folks that the bullying has won me over again. I have updated my pronouns to he they pronouns recently. Not a big deal. I just want to share here. Not that I've been
Mm-hmm.
bullied, but everyone wants me to be non-binary so badly. And
Yes. Come on in.
recently I was like, no, I am.
Sit
So this is
down.
pushing the gay agenda and the gay and the trans agenda, and I'm here for it. I'm
Yes.
here for it. I'm susceptible, and I
Mm-hmm.
gladly took up the mantle. So she's now
I'm
a he they.
coming out. Do, do. I want the world
Want
to
to know.
know.
Okay. Also, a
Yes.
question for you, John. Do you have
Yes.
thoughts on
Yes.
close friends lists?
Well, so I don't want to. Oh, I'm going to give myself away. I have some people on my close friends list, and then I have some people, and then there are people who have me on theirs that I don't have on mine. I will be transparent in saying that my close friends list is really when I'm like wanting to talk shit, but I don't want it, especially when I'm talking industry shit.
Yeah.
I don't want people to see it. So I'm
Mm,
very intentional
okay.
about like who I have in my close friends list are other people in the industry who I know we talk about things or we
Yeah.
talk about stuff that we see like I probably shouldn't out them, but I have I'll just say this. I have a friend. Her name is she works in music, but our views are very much the same in a lot of
Mm,
the stuff that we see in both music and in television and film. And so I'm in her close friends and she's in mine, and we go
mm,
back and forth kind of sharing shit and talking shit about the stuff that we see just across the board. So
okay.
yeah, I don't have a close friends list because I'm putting like, because I have friends that, and again, that's what they like to do. I have friends who have close friends because they like to post nudie pictures, or they like to post, they like to post stuff that probably wouldn't be so, what's the word I'm looking
Like,
for,
safe
they're
for
very
work,
forward
something
facing.
safe for work or something, or like, yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
very forward
I
facing
mean,
people.
I totes gets it. I
Hmm.
totes gets it when people do, and I and you know and I like and I get the reason why people have close friends lists, and like I have one that I made like years ago, but like I just like don't use it. Like, I have
Yeah.
no but I always laugh because close friends list is where a lot of times people who say things that could just be a draft is where it comes out, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you like,
Girl, I didn't need to see
I
this.
mean, I didn't see this. First of all, I mean, listen, don't remove me. I love that.
That part.
I love that you want
Keep
me on
me
the list.
there.
Like, I love the trust. I love the
Hmm.
faith you have on me.
Right.
I'll never betray you or cross you. I'll never tell you
Hmm.
that's maybe a dumb thought, but like, but I am thinking it sometimes. But like,
Yeah.
please, like, don't remove me, y'all. Like, I love being on the list,
But
and
there
also
are,
don't.
I will say this, and if I get in trouble for saying this, I really don't care. There are people that I know have a close friends list and I'm not on it. And I'd be wanting to just put my finger right on their forehead and be like, put me in your close friends list. so I can be nosy because I know you
No,
are messy
same. No, because
and I know it's fun
I
over
just
there.
I just I have one girl. We're like besties, and I'm
Hmm.
not on her close friends list. And I'm like, girl, why? And he's like, because I post like nudes. I'm like, okay, well, I was like, okay, bestie, let me hype you up, then, bitch. Like,
Right. Like
let me hype you up.
you swear that I have a problem with you being nude. And that's the other thing. I think we really
I'm like,
need to,
I'm not a prude, girl.
right.
I love a nudie. I'd be like, oh, I'd be like, okay, Peaches. I see you,
yes.
Peaches. Sweet
Yeah,
and
we
low, sweet
really need to get
chariot.
out
I
of
see
this
you.
mindset that I don't know. I hate that there are so many people who are like so conservative and they're like, "Oh, you're not supposed to like people when they're nude." And it's like, baby, like come on now.
God
We
forbid
all
your bitch has
know,
free expression.
Right. Let people be. Let people
Yeah,
have something. My
yeah.
God. But anyway, yeah. So,
Anyways.
so at this point, I'll just go ahead and add you to my close friends list. You know what? Actually, Joe, I think you are in my close
Oh
friends
no,
list.
I am. No, I
Okay, I
am.
was
No,
gonna
I am.
say,
I am. And
yeah.
like, let me be clear. You aren't one of the people that I'm talking about. Like,
Okay.
no. I am a close friend. And like, and you are on mine. I just don't
Hmm.
post to it. I haven't posted to it in like 3 years. But like, you are on mine. Just so you know, you are on mine.
I was
The
gonna be like, bitch, I'm on. Like,
the
I
last time
know
I
you're
post.
in mine because
No,
I've
I
seen you
definitely am. Oh,
respond
I
to shit that
respond
I
to it a lot
posted.
for sure. I
Yeah.
love being a close friends list, girl. It's a privilege. I love it.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
last time I posted on mine was when Renaissance dropped. The day Renaissance dropped. That
Yeah.
was it. Like because I was working my ass up in my house to church, girl. That was it. But
Tooted.
like I
Yes.
haven't
Yes.
posted. I haven't posted since it's been 3 years.
Hmm.
But like you're on mine, don't you worry. Okay,
Okay.
friends. So as always, we're gonna start. Can you imagine the drama?
Stupid.
Someone's like, you don't have Joe on your close friends list, or you don't have Joe on your close friends. People, the
Oh my
drama people would
God.
have.
I swear the
People
way
would be
that the
like,
world wants
wants
us
us to
to
hate each
literally hate
other,
each
to be
other.
opposites, great,
Hmm.
cray cray. Okay,
Literally.
fam. As always, we're gonna kick off our show. We do by giving our flowers to our girl, Miss Tisha Campbell, in our Still Here segment. And this week, I'm
Amen.
gonna ask a question that I know a lot of us are considering. That's the lot of us are considering, especially with all that's happening around us. Some of us, and I know you mentioned this, John. Pride Month did not really
Hmm.
feel as prideful as it once did in the past.
Yeah.
That being said, I'd love to ask you, whether good or bad, what did you take from last month, and how do you plan to keep the pride alive? I want to hear your thoughts
Hmm.
first, and then I'll share.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I have said this in so many different iterations, and shout out to a couple of friends. My friend Anish had posted a really long story slash reel about ways that, and then that's kind of what inspired this. So I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. Anish, for those of you who don't know, is a social media. I think they are Middle Eastern, and they post a lot of different things about being queer and being Middle Eastern. And so this came up. They are basically saying that for them, Pride didn't feel the same this year, but they were doing their best to make sure that even though they're leaving, they're kind of leaving Pride behind, that they're still feeling like I'm still here. And so
Mm,
I know this question, I had put that this question is loaded for me because I knew going into the month that I was going to feel a certain type of way. And I say that because my feeling is there I feel like we only have like 4 or 5 queer people who ever get celebrated in the month. That they're the only people that we see
well,
everywhere. I'm just being honest. I'm just being real.
well,
We only see 4 or 5 of the same queer people, specifically queer Black people, who are getting opportunities or getting notoriety or being celebrated for their work. And should they be celebrated for their work? Yes. But what I'm saying is, I think that these companies and these corporations, because they've seen these faces and they know these faces are quote unquote safe, they continue to keep going back to them.
mm,
And so there was that. And I kept thinking to myself, like, I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I think this year it just reminds me, the entire month, I just kept saying how performative all of these months have become. It's not just
mhm,
Pride. It's Black History Month, it's Latinx History Month, it's Native American History Month, all of these
mm,
different months that we're supposed to be celebrating, I'm going to say the drama, celebrating the stuff that makes us who we are, the stuff that we've been through, the things that we've overcome. It has now become such a performative thing. And so the fact that I left this month feeling very, very irked. And then, I had to really tell myself, I said, okay, the ways that I'm going, and in order for me not to go into July, August, September, October being irritated, I think it's going to be for me to be able to celebrate the idea that we are, and I say we collectively, meaning me, you, and many other LGBTQ people of color, specifically Black folks, we're living out loud. And I
mm,
think celebrating like our work, right? Like, so this idea that like I have this book and I can celebrate that. We have this amazing podcast that's that's still getting notoriety after 4 or 5 years being on the air.
mhm,
This idea that there are articles that people are still referring to, either be your articles or my articles or other Black queer people's articles, right? Like there's this idea that we can say fuck the performative, and that we get to live and be seen out loud through our work, but also through just being. Like, I think that's the thing for
yeah,
me. It's this idea that just being here and living in the intersections of all the stuff that we have to deal with, but also the idea of like us being who we are beyond the month, like that reminds me to keep showing up, and it keeps reminding me that I don't have to wait for like a brand or a person or a
Mm,
place to like celebrate me just in the month of June, right?
mm,
So yeah, that's kind of the thing I've been thinking a lot about, is this idea of like how do I continue to celebrate me and celebrate what we do and what we've been doing after June 30th. That's kind of how I want to keep the pride
yeah.
going.
It
Mhm.
really, I appreciate you saying that because to me, I feel this past year definitely underlined how for many brands, and it's like an interesting connection between the government and brands, right? Like
Yeah,
it underscores
it's
that
capitalism.
like not like capitalism and that right
Mhm.
capitalism and like brands felt better to do more pride stuff under a different federal government because now
Mhm.
the incentives to do stuff are much less and
Yeah.
their investment in that then is also much less because they're like
Mhm.
we can't get tax breaks or whatever if we if we do this now or like or there's like or like if we do that it's too DEI and so they might come for us next and it makes me sad that I'm like oh so you actually don't love us. And I mean,
Nope.
you never did, right? Like, you never did in some ways. So
Mhm.
we understand that, and I appreciate you naming all this because Pride does feel different, Pride felt different this year in
Yeah.
some ways, and it came by so fast. I also think that like everything in America right now just feels like it's regressing. So nothing feels
Mhm.
good right now. Like nothing feels helpful or supportive for us. And so I think it also was hard to celebrate on a national level. Like a national level
Mhm.
was challenging. I think on a local level it's been different, right? Like I've seen people be able to celebrate on local levels really out loud and really like lively. Like when I was in San Francisco during Pride Month, like I was like, oh, like I know people are like really loving and living right now, and that was really really nice. Like, I know like people going out every weekend. I know people going out every weekend. I know the Trans March, or
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
there's the Trans March and then the People's March. Like I know people
Yeah.
showed up for that. So I think locally, especially maybe even California, right? In California, maybe people are living a little bit differently than
Right.
other parts of the country. I think for me, how to being Pride alive. I mean, July's Pride Month in San Diego, so we got another month of Pride already, and then in August we're doing our Black Pride Festival, which I'm in the middle of planning.
Amen.
So
Amen.
I already got a
Yes.
whole quarter of Pride, baby. I got a whole quarter, three
Mhm.
months of Pride. Honestly, afterwards I might be like, yo, I'm done with Pride. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted.
Be
Take
who
me away.
you are
For
for your
your pride.
pride. He said-
But yeah, it's like I think it's staying alive in some ways because we're really like I think in some ways it's like a stronger commitment
Mhm.
to your point living out loud
Yeah.
because we know that the people in charge of and in power above us are trying to erase us and
Yep.
so we're like let's actually like let's live out loud in general but
Mhm.
let's like live harder than ever before because
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
they won't be able to erase us
Yeah.
and then I also have some thoughts about, but no, I'll save the rest of my thoughts for No Man Pan because I have a little rant about it
Good.
afterwards.
Okay. Okay, good.
But
I
yeah,
love
but
when we
I
have. And I will also say this, like I love this episode is just us because I feel like we have the space and the time to really kind of like go off. And that's
yeah
why there's a lot that I want to say too. And so I'm kind of like, let me just go ahead and I'll hold that for our last
yeah
segment. So
yeah
I like
very
when
much
it's
that.
just us two on the mic because we don't really have to worry about
Mm-hmm.
because our guests they'd be like, oh Lord
This is
Jesus,
like,
these people are crazy.
like, what did I sign up
So
for?
it'll be really good for
Oh
us to
my
be able to go
god,
off. All
my
right. Yeah,
aspirations in
yeah,
life.
yeah.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
fam, now that we let the world know that we are here and we are in fact queer and that we still don't let the taste of beer, we're gonna take
Yuck.
a quick break and come back with this week's category. More in just a sec.
Amen. All right, y'all, and we are back. So it has been a minute since we have done kind of a movie breakdown. We've done a couple of different films. We did the Renaissance film. We did a film very, 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 very early in when we first started the show, and so I figured that we take it back all the way back, and we do kind of the same thing. All things considered, that stuff feels heavy in the world. I know probably people probably think that we're going to come to the mic and we're going to just talk about all the stuff that's happening in the world. And honestly, we will touch on that a little bit later. I said, let's do something that's kind of light, funnish, but also still has a very kind of like deep sentiment or something important for us to look at. And so this week we are going to talk about that film. Yes, we are talking about Sinners. We have not talked about Sinners. I ultimately have kind of stayed away from talking about Sinners because truly I wanted people to be able to see it. I wanted people to be able to kind of like see it, make their own kind of decisions about how they feel about the film before we break it down. And considering that it is getting ready to head over to streaming, I think as of today, so we're actually recording on the 4th. So for those of you, by the time you hear this, it'll actually be, it will have been out for a couple of days. You can, I think it's on streaming on Max. You can go to Max.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can watch
HBO
it there.
Max.
Yeah, HBO Max. I should be very clear about that because they just changed their name again. And we appreciate it, right? People have the right to call themselves what they want to call themselves. Okay. And so with that being said, HBO Max. And what I also know / heard is that there is an actual Black ASL version too. So for those of you who, for those who may have family members or people in your circle who are I think it's, I want to make sure that I say it the right way, deaf or hard of hearing, they ultimately can go on and watch the film in ASL as well as in Black ASL, which I didn't know that Ryan Coogler knew ASL. So that's actually really, really cool to know that that's something he was intentional about with this film coming out to streaming. So with that being said, we are going to talk about the film, but we're not going to directly talk about the film in the ways that other people may talk about the film, or in our traditional journalistic way. We're not going to do like a traditional review, if that makes sense. What I really wanted to dive into is, I've watched the film maybe 3 or 4 times. Actually, I think I've watched it maybe more than 4 times at this point. Wow. And yeah, I oddly enough, when I first watched it, I was like, meh. And then I watched it again and I was like, oh, this film is actually a little bit deeper than what I initially watched it for. And then the third time when I watched it, I was watching it just purely on cinematography and the colors and trying to understand what decisions Ryan was making as a director in terms of like a DP style. And then I think the 4th time that I've watched it, it was just, I wanted to watch it because I thought it was a great film and I wanted to watch it again. So that being said, I wanted to dive into a conversation about what the film says about who we let into our lives, specifically now, and why BFFs need to be cautious about the white gaze. And what I mean is that it's a double entendre, honey, talking about the gaze, Gaze, and then also the white gaze, Gays. And again, this is not, I want to make this very clear that this conversation is not a direct attack on anybody, but I think there is I think it's more of a conversation about queer culture and specifically queer white culture and the ways that we as Black fat femmes oftentimes kind of just let that culture kind of like move around us and we don't check it. We don't engage it as much as we probably, and if that makes sense, right? So I wanted us to kind of look at it from the frame or from the lens of Sinners and really thinking about how the two kind of coalesce. So with that being said, I wanted to first ask you, Joho, now that it has been a few months since you've seen the film, is there anything that has like really stuck out for you? I know for me, one of the things that really jumped out at me after like processing the film is the idea that there are so many of us who are thirsty for belonging and wanting to be seen and loved, and that sometimes we fall into the wrong circles. And I think a lot back to like when I was in college specifically, and I was thinking a lot about how like I thought being a club kid was going to be the thing that brought me the, oh, if I go to the club all the time and if I'm always partying, if I'm always out there with the dolls, right, that's the community, that's the thing that's going to bring me the clarity that I need or the thing I wanted. And I was thinking a lot about what is her name, Mary. I was thinking this entire segment, as I was putting the segment together, I was thinking a lot about Mary and about this idea of like how it's not talked about, but it's almost kind of like we know Mary doesn't really know her identity that well. And she's looking at, these twin brothers to kind of be her her beacon of access to understanding herself better, and how that basically screws her over in the end. So that was one of the things I thought a lot about with that, and I would love to know your thoughts on that as well.
Oh, girl, let me put on my reading glasses because we gotta get serious in this bitch, a little studious and scholarly and shit. Whew. Okay, that's better. So I
She
love
really put on
thought.
her reading glasses. I
really
know that's
did.
right.
I bet you couldn't see for the first half of the show, girl. I was just
She was like, I was just
working on
blind.
vibes, working on vibes.
Yes.
I said, thank God, thank God, thank God I know my cues in my lines because god damn.
They gotta know my
I couldn't
lines.
see
Yes,
shit.
yes.
So
Mhm.
I love your thoughts so much, and I honestly didn't even think about it until this moment, like the let me in piece, right? Because
Mhm.
like I love how you framed it, because in the movie it's about manipulation,
Yeah.
trying to take advantage of someone that you feel is weaker than you by manipulating them into doing something that you want. But like it's under the guise of fellowship, which I think is
Mhm.
really interesting. And like and in some cases I feel like so like I only watched the movie once, but I think about it a lot actually. Because I had a lot of debates with people about why I thought it was such a fantastic film. And you know, and
Right.
the idea of vampires are also interesting too, because vampires are just seen as like blood sucking creatures, blah blah blah. But like in this film and in many like in many actually like lore vampires, right? Like there is this idea of fellowship. Like
Mhm.
you turn people like you don't just kill people, you turn them because you want to build this like commune up of vampires.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I think it's like sometimes like I think like I wonder, are we willing to be disempowered to feel belonging? Right? Like,
Well,
do we allow?
yeah.
Are we willing to say, I relinquish my power and my identity
Mhm.
so I can feel belonging? But
Yeah.
that isn't actually belonging, right? Like that is just control. And how many
Mhm.
times, right, in social constructs or government, are we made to feel disempowered, and or do we give up our freedom of agency to belong somewhere, to feel like we belong somewhere, right? Like you talking
Yeah.
about how you're like, oh, like I should be a club kid, right? Is like you giving a part of yourself to say, I'm gonna give myself to this piece of life so I can belong. But like that's also rejecting a different part of you as well too. The one
Mhm.
that doesn't want to be a
Mhm.
club kid. And so I think I think that's really interesting. I think a lot about the character Grace, one of the shopkeepers, Grace and
Yeah.
Bo, the Chinese American couple.
Mhm.
Because like this is such a metaphor of the white gaze, right? Like the
Mhm.
choice that Grace has to make to go between the white store and the non-white store. Her demeanor has to change. Um, and it leaves me to wonder which one's the real one for her. Does she feel like herself in the white store? Does she feel like herself in the non-white store? Because she has a little attitude to her. She has a little sass, right? She has a little
Mhm.
sass. She talks differently. I ask often, did she feel free at the juke joint? Right? Like
Mhm.
and also as a
Mhm.
Chinese American at that moment in time, under the minority myth, could she ever actually feel free?
Right. Right.
Sometimes I think, and this is maybe a hot take, the freest choice she had was inviting in the vampires.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
let me be
Mhm.
clear, I hated
I'm
her
with
for
you.
that. I hated her for that
Right.
choice.
And I same.
I
Right.
said, Grace,
Same.
why? But that was her
Mhm.
freest choice, right?
Right.
One, because they were about getting her daughter, and she was like, I'm not having that.
Right.
Um, and she was like, I'm not going to like, I'm not going to turn. I'm going to fight, right? And then killing her husband and burning,
Mhm.
and this was where like, say what you want about her choices. That's a bad bitch. She killed her
Mhm.
husband and then burned with him alive.
Mhm.
She put a stake in him, and she could have fought the vampire. But I will say, I was like, girl, you could have fought more people. She put a stake in his heart, and as he burned alive, and she sat on top of him and burned with him, like
Right. Right.
she
Yeah.
like that is like that is wild, right? And
A
she all
decision.
a
That is a
decision, right?
decision.
Like
Yes.
that was free will, because you would have me burning with somebody like that, where you have
Hello.
you. I'm stop dropping and rolling immediately. I'm not gonna burn here. I'm gonna fight these vampires. She said she. In some cases, I'm like, you are so annoying, Grace. You literally said, I'm gonna call them all, and I'm like, I'm gonna take out one of them, and that's it. I've done my job.
Yeah.
You took out one of them, and
Mhm.
that's it. So there's not like no, this is not like 50 living more of them. But I really was like, oh, like this probably was like her most free choice that she made was I'm gonna do this. And I'm going to like take my husband back in that way. I'm also like,
Mm.
so what about your daughter, girl? Because like, what's going on with
Yeah.
her now? Like now
So what she gonna? Yeah.
she got
What
no
is she gonna
parents. She got no
do?
parents. Like
Yeah.
we're just gonna leave her behind. I
Right.
also think a lot about I think a lot about the main music scene, where the music of the past and present and future come to
Mm-hmm.
life. That's
Mm-hmm.
okay. That
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
scene, I believe, is one of the greatest cinematic moments I've ever seen in a film.
T.
Like,
Yeah.
and that scene is what
I
makes
agree.
a film and not a movie. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is a film
Yeah.
already. But that scene, I thought was Chef's Kiss
Chef
gold. I
kiss. Yes.
love that they like they also they also infuse traditional Chinese music, or like Chinese performance in that as well too, like to
Mm-hmm.
honor Grace and Bo in that. I like that was just like, it was so good. So I think that's when I think about a lot too. That sticks with me, because it also shows that like music is also freedom.
Well, it
Um,
is. Yeah,
and like
it
right,
is.
right, like like the like blues in itself as a genre is like
Mm-hmm.
is like about like aspiring for freedom in some ways. And
Yeah.
so this
Yeah.
entire like they was just it was gorgeous. It was just all
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous. I'm curious to ask you, what character did you, I know you mentioned Mary earlier. What
Mm-hmm.
character did you feel the most connection with? Was it her?
Yeah, it was. It was. I will say this, and again, there are parts of me that understands Sammy's plight, right? This idea of like living between two worlds, right? And that's also kind of, to the notion of this conversation. Sammy was very much in this mind of, I'm being told to be this person, here, but I also want to be this person there, and and then I want to be my own person, right?
Hmm.
We could see like there was this idea of like who my father wants me to be, who my cousins want me to be, and then there's who I want to be. But I really really vibed with the undertone of Mary's storyline from the moment they introduced her, right? Um, there was the sense of longing that I could pick up from her. And I know some people would be like, why would you pick Mary out of all the people in that film? You know, I think even with all the therapy I've done, all the self work I've done, the writing I've done, like everything that I've done, like, I mean, obviously I wrote a whole fucking book about it. I still revert back to this idea of wanting people to want me or to like me. And that's kind of what I
Mm.
got from Mary, right? Like this idea of she knew it was who the names I know it was it's Sticks and what's the other one?
Smoking
Stacks,
stacks,
Smoking
smoking
Stacks. So she
stacks.
was with Stack, right?
Yeah, she was with stacks.
Okay, I'm right. Okay. So yeah, so this idea of like she knows who Stacks is. She knows what both, Smoke and Stack does. But there's this idea of like even with him doing her so dirty, she still is, she's willing to in so many ways put her life in his hands, so
Hmm.
that way he can turn around and say, I see it for you, I still want you, blah 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 blah, even though he really doesn't make it clear to her. Like, I mean, there is no real, as much as she's trying to push, he's pulling. And that's literally what I see
Yeah.
in their entire relationship throughout the duration of their time being quote unquote human. And so for me, I think a lot about this idea of like, even the wrong people, sometimes we want the wrong people to want us. And I'll say this on the air. I think about it, the entertainment industry, right? Like I know how awful the industry is. I know how awful, terrible people, I know how terrible people can be in the industry. And there
Mm-hmm.
is still a longing for me to say, oh, I want someone to buy my show, or I want someone to see it for me, or I want someone to validate all of this work that I've done. And it's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle. And so I think, looking at Sinners, looking at Mary as a character, looking at myself in the mirror, really thinking about this idea of how, some of us, our love languages is to be wanted, is to be, to be seen, quote unquote. And I think when you are a queer
Yeah.
person, or when you are a marginalized person who's constantly at, the crux of different oppressions and different, margins of things, right? It feels good, when someone finally quote
Yeah.
unquote lets you in, right? It feels good to be like, oh, I'm finally in with the in crowd, even
Mm.
when we know that in crowd could potentially, and that's the thing I think most about. Like Mary knew who Smoke and Stacks was. She knew what was happening in that juke joint. And yes, she knew it was going to be fun. And yes, there was going to be music and there was going to be all these things that were happening. But there's still this element in the back of her mind that she had to have thought something bad could happen to me being in this bad company, right? Like, as much as Smoke wasn't as bad as Stack, there's still this element of something bad could potentially happen to me. And so I think that was something I thought a lot about, of like how so many of us are so willing to put ourselves in bad situations with bad people just so that way we can be quote unquote accepted, if that makes sense.
You know, I really, I think it's really interesting you said that, because I think like I saw it as she knows something bad can happen to them. Like I saw it as like she knows something bad can happen to them if she goes, because she passes so much. And I think like a lot of folks love to hate Mary, and I understand.
Yeah, I get it too.
But I do find her interesting too, because I think I think to me, like, her complexity is that like she wants a world in which she can feel her blackness more. And like she's willing to renounce her whiteness to do it. Like she was willing to renounce her whiteness when she was with Stax to do it, but he pulled away because he was like, girl, we're from two different worlds. Like they see me and you. They won't see that your grandfather was biracial, girl. Like she's operating off of one drop rule a little bit, which could be seen problematic in some ways, right? Especially in that time period. But she even says like she doesn't feel so connected to her whiteness. You know, and she's mad at Stax because he missed her mom's funeral. And she loved her mom, one, but also, and I imagine her mom, was her mom also white, or maybe her mom
was
like
also
biracial, and her mom like loved and embraced Stax so much as well, and so I think part of her is like you didn't want to be with me because you were so afraid of what the world would think of us, but like my mom loved you, and you couldn't show up for her and her passing, but for me and my grief. But I still want you because I love you, but also like I want to be like, I think he sees it as like, you can't be in my world because it's dangerous for you. And she's like, I don't give a fuck. Like I still want to be part of your world, Ariel. You know, and so it's like I think I do think she's selfish in this way. Like she says, I'm gonna go do this anyways, knowing that it could be a bad look for them.
It could blow up, in her face.
I don't think she's unsafe, because I think she actually feels safe with them, right? Like she feels safe. She probably feels safer with them. I think she feels safer with them than she does. She feels uncomfortable because it's like not her element typically, where she has to live.
Yeah.
But I think she doesn't recognize that it makes them actually more unsafe. Because if the Klans people come and see her there, she'll be all right. Yeah, she'll be right, and they're gonna shoot up the place more, right? Because then, like, you know, like you have the guard, right, Cornbread, the guard, who's happy to see her, and it's like, it's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't make the funeral, but the undertone is like, I couldn't make it, girl, because I was out in the fields working. I don't have the privilege that you have of
to be able to just come and go.
Right, like, and which is, I think you're also your point of being like let me in, like she gets the privilege of walking between both worlds in some way, and others can't be let in. And I wonder sometimes if Stax was like, if I'm with you, I'll always be at the door, but I can't come in the house. Whereas she can, like, she can go in and out, but she doesn't feel belonging, right? Because there's that moment where I think the vampire is there, and they imply like, why is she there, right? Like, why are you there? Like,
right. Well, how did you get in? Yeah.
And she implies like, these are my people, and so it's so she's fighting to be seen, but she doesn't understand the risk she puts everybody else in by doing that, and that's fair. I definitely don't like that. And you know, like, and I think you're also right, like, about the wrong people, because I think like what makes Stax wrong for her is that like he is engaging in like in like
lawlessness, child.
Like he's engaging in like some not kosher activity, and so and And so it's like the wrong person because well, it won't be good for her, but also it will endanger him more. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
she would rather. I mean, so it's like and that's also why Stacks pushed back, right? That's why he pulled back from her. And there's that scene where he's like, what do you want me to say? Like I that I don't care about you. Like that like think about you every day. Like he
Mm-hmm.
I think like he said like he
What
does
do
think
you
about.
want from me? What
What
do
do
you
you
want
want
from
from
me?
me?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But you know
Mm-hmm.
what? But all to
Mm-hmm.
say, at the very least, Hetty Steinfeld gave me the line, "You can rob a bank, but you can't steal this pussy." And I said, "No, what? I've never heard a realer line, and this fucking a realer line has been said. I lived. I said that is
You
crazy
could
for this,
rob a bank, but you
but you
can't
can't
steal
steal
this
this
pussy.
pussy." I
I
said,
would love
"Oh,
to title this episode that, but I know it ain't gonna
I said
fly.
that is a wild." I
That's
think,
fabulous, honey.
and I think I personally, I do feel, I also feel connected to Sammy as well too,
Yeah.
because exactly what you said. Like he's a boy who wants more for himself and his life, but he's fighting what those around him want him to do and want for him. So
Mm-hmm.
he's finding the pressure of obligation to stay where he's at, the pressure of obligation to impress his cousins, and
Mm-hmm.
and to like make them happy and do what they want. But like, like all he wants to do is just play music. That's all he wants to do.
Right.
Like
Yes.
he wants to bring his little instrument and play and
Is
play
it a
some blues and
guitar or a
jazz.
banjo? Is he
Girl,
playing the banjo?
that's why I said instrument because I said I don't know it's a guitar or banjo, bitch. I don't know what it is. I said his instrument. Okay, clock of the IT. I said he wants to play his little string
This
instrument
little
called that
string
goddamn
thing,
day.
girl.
I don't
Who
know what
knows
that
what it
is.
is? Is it a banjo,
No,
girl? What is it?
I think it's a band. I think it's a banjo.
It's
I think
okay.
it's
It
a
is.
banjo.
I'm okay with it being a banjo in
Yeah,
my head.
that's
Yeah.
all he wants to do. Like he doesn't want to do right, but like everyone wants him to be in a different direction, and I think that's why I connected with him because I'm always struggling between obligation to others and obligation to myself, and choosing what I
Mm.
want, and choosing like
Mm-hmm.
the best decision for me, and like right, like you like right, I think like Mary and Sammy are two different foils because like Mary chooses to be selfish in a world that will always that will always cater
Give
to
her
her,
everything. Yep.
and
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Sammy is choosing to be selfish in a world that gives him nothing.
Right.
Right, and so like it's like her selfishness comes at a price of others. His selfishness is solely for himself, and that's a different thing. So, whew,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Okay. Sorry, I had more thoughts than I thought I had in that. That was like
No, it's fine. It's fine. That's
whew.
what this is for, honey. This
So
like
now I'm gonna go here. It might be a little spicy, but I'm
okay.
interested to know your thoughts on the idea of Coogler's commentary of needing to be safe around around white folks. Right, like you see different times where characters strive
Mm-hmm.
to be safe and how
Mm-hmm.
that might translate into our own lives. Think about how much time we spend around white folks in our how much time we spend around white folks in our jobs and our personal lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guns blazing, honey. I think this is a really great, and this is why I love doing this show with you because I think these conversations, I wouldn't feel safe to have these conversations with everybody. And I always do feel very safe enough to be able to kind of engage these conversations with you specifically,
Mhm.
because I feel like you're not looking for a aha got you moment when we talk about stuff like this. It's a very nuanced conversation of like we can talk truth, we can laugh about how fucked up a lot of the stuff is, and then we can also really talk about like what it is. And so I want to say like I just before I even give my response, like I definitely want to say I appreciate you, in a unlimited holding space for me to be able to kind of have these nuanced conversations like this, right? About how we see the world. So I just want to give you your roses on the air. Funny enough, as I was responding to this thought that you put on the doc, I was holding my breath as I was responding because I knew what I wanted to say, but I also want to make sure that I offer care in a lot of what I say. Specifically knowing that I do have a lot of white people that I truly do care about in my life, right? My partner being one of them, my manager being another one. I have a couple of other, white friends that I genuinely believe are really great people and are their energy is always we have to protect you. And what I'm you meaning queer people, black people, like we have to keep you safe, right? And so I want to say off the top, like this is not a direct shot at them, but I will say this that this film and as I've threaded about it, right? It is a great conversation, or a great expose, I should say, on how important it is for us to be honest with ourselves about the white folks that we have in our lives. And
Mm.
what I mean by that is by saying, like, I think there's a lot of us, especially now, and I love that we waited to that I waited to give this response now before, because of what we were talking about earlier in the show. We're in a place now where we have and I, there are multiple reasons why we are where we are in this country. Period. Right.
Wake that up.
But I think a big part of it, right? So we can talk about how selfish white people have been. We can talk about how, white people are only ever really invested in their own best interest. We can talk for days about, all the things, oh, it's just they've been oppressive by nature. But I think a lot of it also is we as Black people, as brown people, we let white people get away with a lot of stuff around us. And I think that's the thing that
Ugh.
I think we really need to kind of like address. And so what I mean by that is, mine included, is that I believe that there are good white people, both sides. There are terrible Black people just as much as there are terrible white people. Yes, there are Black people who voted for Trump and all of that, right? But what I mean by that is that, there are moments where I see white privilege seep out in the white folks that I have in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to make that active decision. Am I going to fuck up the energy in this room because I'm calling out the thing that they just said or did that bothers me, or am I just going to let it slide? And I think a lot of us, especially in queer spaces too, right? Because you think, right, I had to fight all of these years to get into a space to where I can finally feel like I'm safe here, or I'm comfortable here, or that I have my people here. And then this white gay or this white queer person that you think you trust says or does something that's problematic. Now you're like, fuck, do I fuck up the relationship that I have with them by calling them out? Because they may misunderstand me, or they may feel attacked, or all of these different things. But I think that there's something to be said here about this idea of we have to be willing and responsible and we have to hold people accountable. And so regardless of who it is in our lives, right? Whether it be Black people, whether it be white people. And so I think, my bottom line and what I'm really trying to say is that, like, you have to ask yourself, what do these relationships bring me and what might they take away? In the case of Stacks, right? So, I don't want to, there's so many dynamics between Mary and Stacks, and that whole, Mary running out and then, getting attacked and then coming back in and basically being the reason why the entire operation falls apart, right?
Yeah.
Because it starts with Mary. There's a lot that we can talk about around that, right? But I think that there's something that needs to be had around what we take away from the relationships we have with people who don't share the same identities that we have. I think that's the thing I really walk away from with Sinners. There are so many other things, but that's something that has really been sitting with me, right? Is, why is there, I'll say this and then I'll shut up. I feel like I'm talking a lot. I often wonder why there are so many Black and brown folks who really want to be in a space full of nothing but white people. That's something I think a lot about. And then I also think a lot about, why are there so many white people who want to be in spaces with nothing but Black people? And we hear this, right? Why do Black people need their own space? Nigga, why do you want to be in a space full of Black people? You have your own spaces where you need to be. You shouldn't want to be in my space, right? That's a privilege thing. You want to take up my space because you want everything to fill. So I feel like I'm on a soapbox here, but I'm just saying, like, I think there's something to be said about the ways and the relationships in the spaces. You know what I mean? Am I making sense?
Yes, I think I've so many thoughts with this, because I'm trying to remember, because Mary went out because she was like, I'll talk to them, right? Because
I'll be the
one to
yes.
talk to them because I'm one of them, right? She's like,
Yes.
I love them, so I'll try to talk to them.
I get them.
And
I speak their language.
I get them.
Yes.
Her dumb ass turned her back, and then she got, which was so Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And right, she's trying to wield her whiteness to be a good thing, to help Doesn't help, girl.
We
Wetness
see it
never
all the
helps.
time.
Wetness never
We
helps,
see it
girl. You
all the
draw the
time.
time. It does not help, girl. You ruined it for
Tell
all of
all this
us.
time, girl.
It's ruined it for all of us. Then you said, "Let me in the house," and they said, "Sure, Mary." And then you fucking kill. Then you fucking kill your man.
Right.
Diabolical work. Diabolical work.
Yes.
I do like and I agree. Like there are like I totally hear what you're saying, because I think it is suspect if non-black folks want to be in black spaces. And like I just think it's suspect, because you can't build an entire country off of segregating us.
That's you, mama, who was telling it. Now, why you gotta come? Why you gotta ask to come in now?
No,
Why
Annie? Oh, hell
Annie,
yes.
yes,
Hell
you're
yes.
Annie. You are
Oh,
so
hell
Annie.
yes. Annie
You,
from
what
Jump
you want to
said,
do in here now?
something's not right, girl. Something's not right. And the way she, justice for my girl Annie, because no one listened to
Yes.
her. She was
Annie
like,
was the
she said,
star of
y'all
the
need to
movie,
ask
period.
questions. Y'all need to ask
Yes.
deeper, critical questions, y'all. Why they got asked to come in? Why
The way she read Cornbread
can't-
down.
You can't walk in yourself. I think
Yeah,
you're good.
You can't
Do
walk
what
your
she
big
said.
ass in
She
here.
said,
Yeah.
she said, you know what? Let me get some garlic for you real quick. Let me get some lemon juice and splash you in the face.
Yes.
Oh, you can't come in, bitch, because you're a vampire.
Mhm.
That's
Excuse
what I
me,
thought.
yeah.
She had,
Yeah.
everyone. She said, y'all have one job. Don't let them in tonight. Just survive
Yeah.
until, but. And again, then that bitch Grace had to say come in, and literally, if she, again, her character I think is so interesting to me, but Leavenly, I would kill her. I would. She's
Yeah,
like,
Grace would have definitely had to die.
I'm
I
sorry,
would've
girl. A
stabbed Grace.
chop to the
Yeah.
throat with like, if I'm that movie girl and I'm Annie, girl, you're bestie, but you gotta go.
Yeah.
Nope. You said cut. Nope, Grace. I saw her
go,
slipping.
girl.
I saw her slipping, and if it was me, I'd be like, I'm sorry, girl, but I gotta get you now while I still can, like, because I see you slipping into hell right now, just trash. But like I was to say, I do like, yes, I think it is sus when like, I mean, I think it's sus when like I think it's sus when like when non-black folks want to be in black folks stuff like so badly, right? Like for example, like one thing I think about a lot is, obviously, I said where I am helping plan. We're playing Black Pride and the festival, and and I have a lot of like non-black friends who are like, "Can I come? Like, is that okay?" And I appreciate them asking, right? And like one, legally we can't say no, but also like, but also yes, like our festival is like for everyone to come to, as long as you're okay with like them centering blackness, right? But like and so I appreciate that they asked, like, is it appropriate that I come? Because that means they're mindful of like they're not trying to be about.
They're not trying to take up space. Yeah.
Business. They're like, you tell me they can do it. Versus there are folks who are like, who are all in a black person's business. Like why do you?
Oh, why is you here?
Oh, why is you here? Like why do you need to be doing what I'm doing? It's like, yes, I think you make perfect sense, and it's a privilege. It's white privilege, right? It's like, but privilege. It's white dominance, right? Like it's all systems of dominance to be like, I want to be in your business, right? I think also like the same way, like there's a whole point with like with that whole group of white folks, and they're all sus. They're like the Irish Empire. They're like, why do you want to come in here? He's like, oh, the music just sounds great, and they're like, I mean, yeah, that's great, but like, you came all the way out here for that,
right?
I don't know, girl. And he's like, I just want fellowship.
Girl, you could do that somewhere else.
I'm saying fellowship, baby girl. It's the what 1940s. What? Why am I gonna let you? Why am I gonna let you?
I picked that Robin clean.
Lily white ass in this jute joint. You can go fellowship anywhere else you want fellowship. You want fellowship,
right?
Here, girl.
Go away.
Yeah,
please go away. Yeah, no, you're so right, and I think I will say this, Chris, you can cut this out. We are literally almost at an hour talking about this film. So obviously, like, this literally means like this is such a great film that we can.
I pray Ryan Coogler
hears it. Yeah, I really do too. Because like I said, when I genuinely thought it was going to be overhyped. And like I said, when I first watched it, I watched it, just for it's a film. And then I watched it again from like the creative lens, and I was like, wow, this film is actually a lot deeper than what people really let on. And so I do want to say, like, I hope Ryan hears this. I hope, actually, you know what, Chris, keep all this in. I do hope that Ryan gets, someone puts it in his ears that we over on the Black Fat Film podcast really saw it for this film and took something really important for it. So, with that being said, now that you have had to beg your aunties, cousins, uncles, sisters, mama for a max password to watch this movie, we are going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to have more show.
Okay, fam, we are back, and we did this a few weeks ago, and y'all seemed to really like it, so we thought we'd bring it back again today. For this week, we're talking about what's on our plate, but we're calling it Movie Edition, and we're going to the theater tutorial. This week, we're talking all things theater snacks and asking the age-old question, how you like your popcorn? And what's on top of it, girl? You got jalapenos, you got
this
seasonings.
Is so black.
It's we got questions, and we got answers. So let's just go down the list. What seasonings do you have on popcorn?
My seasoning. So, bitch. Okay, so let me put you on. My partner does this thing where he will. Oh God, this is so fat. We will open the bag up, and then we'll actually we don't microwave it. We put it in like a pan, and then we add a little bit more butter, and we add more Parmesan cheese to it. It's some garlic salt, bitch. Take it to the moon. It is so good. That is literally, when I'm at home, if I'm eating popcorn, that is really the only way I want to eat it. What about you?
Is, do you bring your own spices to the theater? Because that's the level of black I'm trying to get to. I bring my own spices. Because
I used to have a they have those little
spices, and some do not. And I love the ones that do, because I will fuck up some Parmesan some lemon pepper. Butter.
Not lemon pepper popcorn.
Girl, I love that shit. Girl, no. One time my friend she brought her own little thing of butter, which tipped me out because I was like, girl, the butter is free. Calm down. And then
hold on, pause. She bought a thing of butter.
She bought her own little melted down butter, and I was
know that's right.
I said, that's a wild girl.
She said. Butter, but what is it? Butter ingredients? He said, "Fuck that! I want real butter.
I want my pure natural butter." I said, "Go off, girl."
I know that's
and then
right.
she had a little spice mix of lemon pepper. That shit was delicious.
Bomb. I love that for her.
That shit. Yeah. Yes. I love. I think I love I'm not a sweet popcorn girl. I want a savory popcorn. I want the shit to be like nice and spicy. I don't fuck with jalapenos like that normally. But so it has jalapenos on popcorn. I'll fuck with that too. I love me some jalapenos.
Yeah, that's not me. I'll never be a jalapeno girl.
Not for me, babes. Not for me.
Not for me, babes. Nope. Not for me, babes.
Do you have a favorite movie candy? I'm not a big candy girl, but if I do want candy, it will be probably M&M's, peanuts,
Butterfingers,
or Reese's.
Butterfingers. But you know what also is good if you really want to shake shit up? Get you a kids popcorn combo and take those little M&Ms that they give you and mix it in with the popcorn. Girl,
that's genius.
Yes,
that's Chico, baby. That's a Chico, right? That's a Chico. Yes,
because you mix them in and you get the sweet and you get the salty.
The hack, baby.
Yes, that's a hack. That is a hack.
Okay. Do you sneak anything in?
So growing up, I used to be that girl. I mean, and I think a lot of it has to do with again, access and costs, right? I mean, our money, right? So when we were growing up, it was the idea of my mom saying, I'm not spending, 20, because movies, quiet as it's kept, movies have always been expensive. No matter when, no matter how you think about it, movies have always been costly. Even when $7 was just $7 for a film, $7 for a film was expensive at that time.
Yeah.
So my mom was always like, I'm not spending, because it would be me, her, my cousins, we would all want to go. She's like, I'm not spending $50 for a movie and also spending stuff for, on popcorn and all that and stuff. So we would sneak candy in, we would sneak sometimes food in. My cousin was notorious for sneaking in like chicken and sneaking in rice. Like she would have full plates of like food that she would pass down to us. My auntie Yolanda, I love her, but she was hood, and she made sure that we had everything that we needed when we went to the movie. That we'd be having potato salad, we'd be having watermelon. It was just a lot of stuff that you probably shouldn't be eating in the movies. We would be eating like a full meal, and I love Yolanda for that. I really do. But other than that, we normally would just sneak in candy from like 7-Eleven or something. But what about you?
I always think about the scene from Scary Movie where Brenda brings like a whole picnic essentially, and that's the shit I aspire for. I don't. because
These
before
niggas eat beans.
that shit was crazy. I lived, but like, and like that's what I spot for. I don't because I can't have like a bag or something, right? And I'd be like, Mom, Mom, put in your purse. I'm not putting this in my purse. We're not walking like that.
No, I'm
But
not putting
now that I'm an adult, I have my own bag, so I will happily
fish.
bring some.
Yes,
I think one
yes.
time I brought wings in. I brought wings in. Called like a game day.
I
I said,
don't.
what
I
you
don't.
won't do is tell me I'm not bringing wings. Like,
So this is a good question. This is something that I go back and forth with people about this. I know AMC has like the dine and whatever. I think their food is nasty, but I also just don't love the idea of like eating while I'm trying to watch a movie. And again, I'm not yucking anybody's yum. I'm just saying like the thought for me of like trying to focus, like sometimes when I eat, I like to be,
food's not the
you know what I
focus
mean?
of the food's not the focus of the film. It's film, not
Yeah.
food. I'm not here for dinner. I'm here for a little snacky poo, right? Because
Right.
oftentimes, like, if I go to a movie, I'm gonna eat before or after. That's like the
That
whole experience.
us,
You see a movie,
we're gonna eat before or after.
It's
Yes.
like the movie is part of the experience, but you eat. You have dinner before. You have a
Right.
snack before, then you have dinner afterwards, and you
Right.
yap about the movie, about the film.
Uh-huh.
Like that's the social contract that we all signed when we came in here today. Don't fuck up the flow by saying, "Let me order me a burger at the movie theater."
Why are you eating a burger in the movie theater,
And
girl?
people like I know because dining movie theaters are like bigger in different states. And
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard about it, my dad was in Texas visiting my brother. And he was like, "Oh, did you know the theaters have like dining options? Like they have like a waiter, they have like a table in front of them." And I was like, I don't want to do that, bitch. I want to recline. I'm not trying to like shove a burger in my mouth when I'm laying 6 inches backwards. Like,
right.
I want to do that.
It's
Also,
a
why would I
lot.
go
It's a lot.
and pay for a burger there? There's no chef. There's no chef there making it.
Every time, and I've been in a situation before where I was starving and I was just like, oh, you know, fuck it, I'll just do it. I'll just get a burger. I think I actually got some wings. I think this was actually when Black Panther came out. I was in Boston, and I remember that was like, I think the first time we started really seeing AMC doing like the full rollouts of like the full restaurants, and it was disgusting. It was probably the worst set of like boneless chicken wings. It was absolutely like, I literally actually I'm never that girl that's gonna send food back. That was one of the times that I did because it was so nasty.
In its prime, growing up, we had it was a Century Theaters. The prime was I would get a medium popcorn and a frappuccino because they had a Starbucks outlet, I lived. I was like, this is the height of luxury. I get a frappuccino, mocha frap, and some popcorn, and just sound like that. That's what I'm there for. I'm not there to have a full
no.
Because I'm already paying $20 for a ticket. That's the other thing. The dining option movie theaters, the tickets are more expensive anyway. So I'm paying $20 for a ticket, $25 for a ticket. Then I'm paying for a meal. Girl, I just gonna BJ thing for cheaper. Call like a damn day.
Right.
So anyway,
very that.
Okay, now my last question is: what are your thoughts on what are things that people do in the theater that drive you insane? And let me tell you first, because why is it?
Go ahead.
Why do you come to the theater sick? Why are you coughing?
That part.
Theater? Man, I'm not trying to judge
coughing the whole film.
Trying to move this film. Why are you coughing the whole time? I can't hear shit. I yap sometimes. I love to yap, but my yapping is about the movie. Why am I hearing a conversation about you and your hookup earlier?
I was just about to say that.
Yap about the film. This is a shared experience, girl. We both pay to be here. If we're both saying, "Don't go in there, girl," I love that for us. Don't go in there, girl. And you're like, girl, Jacob last week ate me out. Why are you here? Go on your phone and go home.
Go home.
Like, what do you? Yeah. Also, I'm not gonna lie, children. Don't bring them.
Yeah, you know, we have said
if
that
your child can't be quiet, don't bring them.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
I don't, and that's also partly why I don't go watch. Like, I know Elio just came out, and I was like, I can't wait till that comes out on Disney Plus, because I genuinely just don't want to have to be like, I don't want to be that person that ruins another person's movie experience because my movie experience was ruined because they have kids. So I'll just watch it
babies.
at home.
Why
right?
are babies there? Like a baby cannot sit still and I don't blame the baby. I blame the parent. If I have
parent, why are you here with a baby?
In this age of Beyonce streaming, we don't need to do that. You can watch it at home. It's gonna be okay. Like, and I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to be anti-parent or anti-kids. Like have your kids and have something you want. Like, do things in your life for sure.
Right.
But like if you know your baby's gonna be crying as it should be because it's a baby, Don't bring the theater, girl. Like, it's doing its job.
Why is this baby in the why you got a baby in the bar? But
Why?
no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And that's why, like I said, there are movies that I know are movies that I know have like a kid tinge or like targeted for children. I just say screw it. I'll just stay home and watch it because I know I'm going to be irritated the entire film. But I think my biggest pet peeve these days is people who are on their phone the entire film. Like if I can see your phone light while I'm behind you, why? Like why? Like
Yeah.
literally, this is an hour and a
have that
half to
screen
2
on dim,
hours.
girl, and call it a
You
dim day.
don't need like if it's that dire, you don't need to be here. Like if it's that dire that you need to stay glued to your phone in that way, you need to be outside. You need to be at home watching this on your television. You don't need to be in the movie theater. That's like my biggest pet peeve is people who sit on their phone the entire time of the film.
Also, like, why'd you pay to be here? Why'd you pay to be here if you're on your phone?
Why did you pay $17, $18, $20
makes no sense
to sit on your phone? Literally, girl, make it make sense. So yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve.
Girl. Okay, well, now that we officially got you all in the mood to head down to your local theater and chastise a girl who has her phone on or has a child with them. We're gonna take a quick break and come back with y'all's favorite segment. Yes, we're gonna Pam in just a bit.
All right, y'all. So this week, for my Yes Ma'am, my No Ma'am Pams, they are semi-direct, but they're also kind of all over the place. So it is what it is. This week for my Yes Ma'am Pam, I genuinely just wanted to shout out anyone. So my yes ma'am for this week is anyone who is continuing to fight the good fight and holding people in power accountable for all the bullshit that they see, whether it be folks sharing stuff saying call your senators or people who are, I had a friend yesterday who had posted on social media. She had made a whole bunch of signs and she was just walking around her neighborhood, telling basically, because she had seen ICE there, she had a sign and basically it was saying like, keep ICE. And then as people came up to her, she would hand them the signs to like walk with her. And that was like something I thought was really cool. Right. It's just, we're at a time right now where everyone is doing the best that they can. And I think instead of, I know people can be doing more, but I also live in the mind too of like there are people who are doing the best that they can and doing what they can the way that they know how. And so I definitely wanted to just give credit to those people that are like, I don't know what to do, but I know I need to do something, so I'm going to do something. Whether it be start a podcast, whether it be go on a podcast and use the platform to say something bigger. It like I said, being outside and just walking around, right? Like today I have on a shirt that, has a message that I'm probably going to be wearing tomorrow. And it basically says, I want for you what you want for immigrants. Like that kind of stuff, as much as people think, oh, it's just performative or whatever, it sends a message and it lets other people know that, even in the moments of like, you feeling like you don't know what to do and it feels like everything's crumbling around you, just do something is sometimes enough. And so I definitely just want to give people credit for doing whatever that they can in this moment. My No Man Pam is actually a twofold one. They are not related. I'm going to start with the first one and then I'm going to say my last one and then I'll throw it to you. I definitely am in the mind of, you know what, I'll say this one I think is the important, and then I'll do the more not important one second. So my first one is, I just want to say fuck Trump, fuck ICE, fuck anyone and everyone who let Diddy get away with his bullshit, and any other person who is supporting folks like Diddy, like Trump, like ICE, anybody, like I just like hard stop. Anybody who's with the bullshit, I'm over it. Fuck y'all. That's literally all I have to say. And I could go on for hours about how I feel about everything. And I know it won't necessarily help, but I definitely am in the mind of like, if you are okay with this, what we're seeing and what's happening, like I've said earlier, you are part of the problem. And I really hope and pray that nothing good comes your way. Now, the other part of what I wanted to share, which is very, very 40-year-old me, like, grandpa, get off my lawn. These stupid kids with these motorbikes that I'm seeing, I am done with them. I hate them. I think they're stupid. I think there should be licenses, like, so, and this is the
You're not wrong.
the
You're
reason
not
why
wrong,
I'm
girl.
saying this. Like, normally I'm not the girl to come on the mic and just be like, oh, I'm gonna yell about this really, really stupid thing. But I was at LAX, and as I was leaving the other day, there was a whole mess because someone was riding one of those motorbikes the wrong direction on the street where all the buses come. So all the buses had to stop because that person was riding the motorbike and wouldn't get off the bike. And even when the police were like trying to chase them and get them off the bike, they thought it was funny to be like zooming in between buses and things. And the other day, as I was turning into my garage, a kid zoomed past me, and I'm like, I could have hit this kid. Like, I hate them. I think they are so stupid. And I really do believe that there should be like, you should have to have a license for them, because people are so, what's the word I'm looking for? Y'all are dealing with me coming off of COVID, so a lot of my words are escaping me. But like, it's just it's reckless, I think is the right word. It's very reckless how people treat their lives on those bikes, and so I'm over them. I really just wanted to say, like, it doesn't make any sense. And if you are going to use them, please have some damn sense when you do use them. Like, come on now. Like, you literally are putting your life in someone else's hands because you're zooming past them on a street full of cars and buses. Are you stupid, or are you dumb? Literally. Like, that's literally how I feel every time I see someone on them. So yeah, that's where I'm at. What about you? What are your yes ma'ams and no
Damn,
ma'ams?
I'm not yes ma'am. I honestly, I'm like trying to scroll to find it. I'm like, I don't know what's a yes ma'am today anymore. But no, I'll just say memes. Some memes are funny.
Yes,
Some are
yes.
like some are great. Some I'm like, no, I enjoy this. This is hilarious. People are funny on the internet and they're creative, and they should be celebrated more. And I appreciate y'all for that.
Labubu.
I will never ride for Labubu. I don't understand the
Okay, you know
girl.
what?
La bye
So
bye.
thank you, everybody. This has been
A
a
great
fantastic
show.
run. This has been a fantastic
This is the end of
run.
the road for us.
This will be the last episode.
I'm
Sorry.
so
Yeah.
sorry. You'll see us both on our new shows. That we'll each have separately. We trash talk each other. Where I trash talk John for living
What
the
is
boo
it?
boo.
Celino and Barnes, not us being Celino and Barnes. Celino,
I
I
just
still
don't.
believe, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying this. I believe that who was the one that died? Was it Celino who died?
I have no idea who other people are.
Okay, so
Selena
Celino
and
and Barnes. So I'm
Barb.
gonna put you up on game. Celino and Barnes, they were a like law firm, and I think they were friends. And then when they split, like, I guess they sued each other and split, and it became the Barnes firm. And then I think it was Celino who died like a couple of weeks later in a plane crash. I believe that Barnes had Celino killed.
Okay, this is John Record saying that if we break up, he's gonna have me taken out.
No,
Sorry,
that is not what I'm saying. I'm
they're
just
gonna be taken out. They're
saying
gonna be taken out.
that happened, and I truly believe in my heart of hearts that Barnes had Celino killed. Allegedly. I have to say allegedly because I don't want nobody coming after me. Allegedly.
You hear first, y'all. They gonna get me. John's gonna get me, y'all. They gonna get me. John's gonna allegedly get me.
No, I am not. But no, but anyway.
Okay, my
but
no
you
man
don't see it for Labubu. Okay.
I don't see it for Labubu. I don't understand, but people are obsessed. But no, I yuck no one's young.
So many
I just
now.
Don't. Oh my god!
I have like
you could
4
zoom
here,
in
and
on,
then I have 1 there, and then I have another one there.
I just don't understand.
And then I have more upstairs too.
I live.
Yes.
Okay, my no man Pam. So let's have a small rant. So this is for people who really misunderstand the purpose of Pride and the movement of Pride. And this was born out of a conversation I've had in San Diego, where people feel like Pride is supposed to be a space of unity and love and inclusion. And it also came into a space of, I made a comment to this couple about how I was like, I don't think straight folks belong at Pride. And like, it was half joking. And they're like, one person in the couple was like, I can't believe you would say that. And I was like, why? And she was like, and it was a lesbian couple. And so one of the wives was like, our community is so exclusionary. Like I can't believe you would like want to be exclusionary as well too. Like, shouldn't you be about inclusion? And like, like we need straight allies, and I was like, Sure, we need straight allies for sure, but like, I don't think they belong at Pride or belong in my gay bar.
Right.
Like, are they fine to come? Yes. Do they belong? No. I'm so sorry to tell you, and like, I will happily go on air saying this. Like, I do not believe that straight folks but belong there. Like,
No.
Pride is not about unity, love, and inclusion. Those are
Mm-hmm.
dimensions of Pride, sure, but like that is like Pride. The inclusion it's about is inclusion of queer and trans folks who
Right.
were not included in actual life beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
like the entire purpose of Pride was not to be a space of unity and love. The entire purpose of Pride was to literally fight against a system that wanted us to not
Yeah.
exist publicly.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm so sorry if you think otherwise, but like, that's the like facts are facts and history is real. And you need to like understand that, baby girl. Like, when Marsha threw a brick,
Joe is mad.
she did
Said, I
not.
said what I said.
Marsha allegedly, the whether it was real or proverbial, the brick that
Her
was
brick,
thrown
her rock,
was not a
whatever.
brick for unity and love. The brick was saying, well, I'm
Right.
tired of this bullshit. The
Correct.
biggest gag of Pride that people don't understand sometimes, I think it's lost on them. The biggest gag of Pride is that many cities that have Pride parades have to parade while under the surveillance of police, which
Yep.
was the exact
Yep.
system that born the revolution of Pride in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So tragically, babes, no, Pride is not about unity and love and inclusion. It's about survival and resistance, and unity and love are part of
Tragically,
it.
babes. Yeah.
Like, you're
Sorry,
wrong.
girl.
Like, you're wrong.
No.
And like, and if people want to be my DMs or email us about how straight should be in Pride,
Please.
I welcome the conversation.
Welcome it.
I really do. But like,
Yeah.
there's no like, I don't have many straight friends, and I don't believe that my life is worse for it. I just don't believe so. Like, what does the system of straightness have to offer me? Nothing. Like, nothing. Like,
No, I
do I
too
have straight friends
prefer.
and I love them?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. But and I'm not saying that I don't oh, I'm saying you're straight. Don't talk to me. That's not what I'm saying. Although I could, because let's be honest, how many straights are like, you're queer, don't talk to me, right? Like, but
Right.
I don't need the trope of I have a straight best friend and they have a gay best friend. That's not the bridge building I'm trying to do, girl. Like, that's not my bridge building
Right.
ministry. My bridge building is about is about racial dynamics. It's about how
Mm-hmm.
queerness is often seen as others are ostracized or killed, how transness is
Right.
murdered. Like, when straight folks like ride for us, I am happy to say, come to Pride, girl. I'm happy to say, come to
Right.
gay bars.
Right.
I live in a queer area. Tell me, in this city that is roughly, let's say, like 30, 40 miles long, I have 1 mile of queerness,
Mm.
and you have 39 miles of straightness.
Yeah.
Why do you have to be here? Why do you have to be here?
That's the question. Back to our original point.
You don't.
What are you doing here? What do you want?
You have safety everywhere else.
Yep.
We had to fight for this area to be here in this part of town. We had to fight to have our own like gay bars and queer spaces, queer run restaurants. I really am, and like I want to be really clear. Like, I'm not saying that we can't be an integrated society. It's not saying that at all, right? And like, my ideal world is
some people would say segregation is good.
Like,
I'm just saying.
Some people would. Some people would, right? Like,
Yeah.
like my ideal world is a world in which, like, yes, like queer folks and straight folks can be in the same place at the same time, and literally like no one's bothered whatsoever.
Right.
That doesn't happen.
Nope.
Like, that still isn't happening in many places. So like until that is, give me my pride, and give me my queer areas.
I think so. Again, and I know we can stay on this topic for hours, but I think there's just it's frustrating to me that I think that there are people who can't understand and can't comprehend when I say I want my own space, I need my own space, what that really means. It's not that I'm excluding you. It's this notion of I don't get to feel safe. 23 hours of my life, I'm constantly worried about my safety. I'm worried about my my well-being, I'm my mental capacity, right? So in this hour that I'm with queer people, or this hour that I'm with Black people, or this hour where I'm with queer Black people, where I'm telling you as a straight cishet person to stay away, a white person to stay away, for you to say, oh, that's problematic, that, you know, I should be able to have access. Like, you are literally doing exactly what white supremacy is
Like
set
that's like
up
the
to
thing.
do.
I should be able to have access. I should be. Why should you have? Why? Why should you be able to have access? You should be able to have,
Yep.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah.
People like who look like us, who have the identities of us, have never had access.
Nope.
And
And still don't. Still
you
don't.
should, simply because what? Right? Or
Mhm.
like or like
Privilege.
because you say you love gay people, you should.
Mm,
Baby, the world
yeah.
is not the
But
world
your
is actually
love is not going to keep us safe. And
like,
that's the thing I think
yeah.
people have a hard time understanding. Like, to
And
your point, right?
if you don't fight for us, you actually don't love us.
Right.
If you think that like saying hi to us and giving us a hug like shows that
And
you
dancing
love
with us.
us, like
Yeah.
you cannot. And I think this is where it is for me. You cannot participate in our joy and think that that's enough.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
cannot say I'm your ally simply because you come to our parades, or you occupy space in our bars, right?
Mm.
Or
Mm.
or that you patron our restaurants. Like, are those
Yeah.
good things? Yes, and you should. But don't feel like you're a good person because of it.
That's where it
That
stops.
is
Yeah.
like basic human
Yep.
decency. One and
That part.
two, if you aren't at our protests, if you aren't at our marches, if you aren't talking about the lack of access we have to gender affirming care, if you aren't talking about like that, like we may lose a right to marry, if you aren't talking about that, you do not love us. Like
Well, no,
that is
I would
actually.
even go further. You know, I look around. So this idea of like people in positions, you know, it shouldn't always come back down to capitalism. But the reality is that a lot of queer people are suffering right now and are worried about what their livelihood is going to look like in the next couple of months. And if you are an HR person and you're saying, "Oh, I'm inclusive," or and you only have two queer people on your team, you are the antithesis of someone who is causing a problem in our society,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't, it can't just stop at the idea of, oh, I'm going to go to Pride and it's going to be, you know, I love queer people, I want to celebrate them. Nah, bitch, get to work. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
need to be looking at systems, you need to be looking at things around you, you need to be looking at all the stuff that you interact with. Anything and everything you interact with, you need to be looking at it as a cis straight person in this moment, specifically in this moment. You need to be looking at it and saying, how can I use whatever access and privilege that I have to fuck up this system that's continuing to keep working?
Yeah.
Because that's really where it is. And we are literally, as queer people, as Black people, as queer Black people, we are literally fighting tooth and nail to keep what little bit of liberty and what little in liberation that we have. We are all fighting. And so now you're coming into Pride and you're like, oh, I deserve to be here. And it's like, nah, bitch, like that ain't how this is going to work. And,
No.
and I'll say this, and then we can wrap. You know, if you, for folks who are listening, if you are in spaces with queer people, if you are in spaces with Black people, if you are in spaces with anyone who is marginalized, and their tone or their energy seems pointed at this moment, let it. This moment is not about you. It is not about you. And what I say about it, yes, it is. But what I mean is for you to be like, oh, my feelings, like someone said something to me and it hurt my feelings right now. I hate saying this, but fuck you. Like, literally, we are at a place right now where it's like we don't get to rest. We don't get to feel good, quote unquote, when all of this stuff is coming down. And like I've been saying, at the end of the day, this is all going to impact us, regardless of how anyone looks at it, right? Medicaid stuff, this all of this shit is going to impact us one way or another. And so if you're in a space with a queer person and they say something and it doesn't rub you the right way, eat it, sit on it. Because the reality is like, this is not the time for you to position yourself to feel like we have to, in your straightness, in your pride and privilege, that we have to center you. So that's just where I'm at with that. I think you're very valid in what you're saying, my friend. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Anyway, all right. This has been a great, I will say, this is probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
This has been a great episode. Please send us your thoughts. Again, we're open to them. We want to hear you. If you got something to say, if you don't agree, we'll read it. We may even mention it on the air. We may not. But you can send us your feedback and your emails to blackfatfempod@gmail.com. You can also send us your thoughts via social media by interacting with our posts on Instagram and Blue Sky and Threads. Our handle is blackfatfempod. Queen Joho, where can the dolls find you?
Of course, you can find me at Joho Daniels across all socials. You might find me being stoned in the streets after my whole rant, and that's okay. My website, johodaniels.com. If not, you can find me cussing out anybody who speaks on my loved ones' names. Nothing has happened particular for me to say this. There's no reason why I'm saying this. I'm just letting y'all know now. I'm not the person to be played with. Do not speak on my loved ones. It will end badly for you, girl. Verbally, physically,
not you being like,
spiritually.
Candy, that's my mama. That's my mama. One thing Candy gonna do is ride for Mama Joyce. Yes. Mm-hmm. As as for me and mine, you can find me down to www.drjonpaul.com or on socials at DoctorJonPaul. Like I said, I'm on Threads, Blue Sky. You can also find me on Instagram, maybe on Facebook. Sometimes I'm on Facebook. I also want to shout out, there are multiple, I'm done with this book tour. It's done. We're done. We are done. I do want to say, though, that there are virtual book opportunities coming up. If you would like me to be on something, please reach out. If you are looking for speaking, I want to say this is the perfect time. If you really are that girl and you're like, oh, my company is rolling back, or, oh, we don't have the funds. You and your organizations are the problems. So this is the time for you to really show up for people like myself, who make so much money off of speaking engagements and doing this quote unquote good work. If it's good work, find the money for it. But all that to be said, I am open to speaking engagements now that my book tour is done. I also want to say that I believe that a lot of this is a scheme that Todd set up to hit us with the bullshit. For those who get it, you get it. For those that don't. But all that to be said, yes, it's a very interesting time to be alive. And for those who rock with us, thank you. And for those of you who aren't, who are listening or hate listening, because we know we have hate listeners. We know we have hate listeners. Thank you for listening too. But hating us is not going to make you feel any more better about your life. I just want to throw that out there as well. Anyway, all that to be said, we want to thank our producer, Bay Wang, super producer. I want to put that out there. Our super producer, Bay Wang, for handling all of the logistics with the show, and everyone over at iHeartMedia who continues to keep the show up and running. We also want to thank our producer / editor / visual artist, whatever you want to call Chris Rogers. They are literally the bones of this show. So thank you, Chris Rogers, for everything that you do. Without them, we would have no audio, we would have no visuals, down to the tubes of you. And thank you for everybody who watches the YouTubes. I know I've had friends mention to me, they're like, oh, I'm watching it this weekend, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, y'all be watching. Okay, I know that's right. So thank you for watching. Thank you for the comments. We love you down over at YouTube. This has been another show. Stay black, fat, femme, fabulous. And remember what, Joho?
We may not be your first taste of pride, but girl, throw a brick. You need to anyways.
I know that's right. Throw a brick. That's literally, you know what? That's going to be the title of this episode.
Throw a brick.
The title of the episode is Throw a Brick.
I got mine right here, y'all. I got mine right here.
I'm screaming. I love us for real, everybody. Y'all take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.
Bye.